believe that they're doing these things, but they're exercising the will of someone else.
Yeah.
For example, they have a guru or a teacher or someone who they admire who's giving them instruction to abstain from a certain thing or a certain behavior that the party who's actually doing the action of abstaining may not reap the actual power in the will from, because it's being imposed.
They think they're exercising self-control, but it's control.
Yes.
It's just not self-control,
yes.
right?
Yes, the willpower definitely starts with you. It has to be a decision that you're making to benefit yourself. The challenge has to be where you're gaining from it, not in the sense of this collective group of people are doing this and I'm going to jump on the bandwagon for it.
I'm glad you said that, but who is it that you think, who imposes these challenges? Who is proposing that we do these things? You're the only one that's doing it. Nobody else knows that you're even doing it sometimes. You'll just know it in your mind. Where is this coming from?
I think the self may know what it is that it needs to be able to move forward through life. So the struggle is something, like I said, imposed struggle challenges. The key word there is imposed, but the struggle is going to happen no matter what. And it's going to happen whether you impose it and say, hey, I'm going to leap these steps.
So you might as well do it yourself.
Right.
Huh?
So it's like preparing yourself, like leaping up the steps for a young boy to leap up the steps and decide, I'm going to challenge myself to do that. One day he might be challenged to jump off a cliff, and he might do it
right.
flawlessly.
In a controlled environment. So the thing is basically
exactly.
You're going to struggle.
Right.
Anyway. So why not be in control of it?
There you go.
Struggle is a part of life. You had said something, and this is why I always interject, because he said something, and it took me somewhere, and then I totally forgot what it was that I was thinking. But it's going to come back. No, what you were saying that it comes from the self. What I immediately thought was the kingdom of heaven is within.
Yeah, exactly.
Which brings me back to that sound therapy album that you're working on, Fire.
Yeah.
The Divine Machine. The kingdom of heaven is within. What did it say after that? Open your mind.
Free your mind.
Free your mind and your ass will follow. Free your mind and your ass will follow. The kingdom of heaven is within. So is it like our higher self is dwelling in our minds?
For sure. I think that when they say the kingdom of heaven, a kingdom is something that has to be built and fortified over time. Yeah. And in order to build it, that means you can't necessarily be born with it. Because it don't start
with Rome built in a day.
Exactly. It may take
Rome is a kingdom.
It may take a lifetime or two or three. It may take a lifetime or two or three.
That cliche is powerful, ain't
it? To be able to build what we consider heaven in the mind. Oftentimes.
Hold on, wait. All right, I want to make sure we're not getting no glitches, because we were flowing in streaming consciousness just now. So, all right, looks like we're still rolling. All right, Levi, get back in the vortex.
Yeah, I'm saying oftentimes we believe that heaven is something that you just fall into one day. You're in this heavenly state of mind. You're in the kingdom of heaven now. But this is a process that has to be built and fortified over time. And sometimes it's a struggle. In order to build something, it's not always easily and flawlessly and all just done in your mind. It takes sweat, it takes tears, it takes real struggle to be able to create something over time. It's a test of will, because some days the weather is not permitting for you to build, or you just don't feel like it or whatever. And if you can push through that using your will power, his actual power, then you get the power to be able to generate what it is that you need to be able to make things happen.
I think that I think too many of us don't really put enough emphasis on the word will, and how important willpower is.
Yes.
Even when we talk about Christ consciousness, I think it was Edgar Casey said that Christ consciousness is a pattern imprinted on the mind by the will of our soul's oneness with God.
Yeah, will is like desire.
By the will,
it's like
not just by our soul's oneness with God, but the will of our soul's oneness with God. So, what is it about will? I will. What is it about the word will? We might do a little etymology search on will. What is it about will that makes it so important, but also so understated?
Yeah, I feel like, and I don't have the etymology of will right in front of me, but I definitely feel like will is like a controlled desire. Like, it's like desire may run wild, but will is direct. It's like, I want this particular thing.
Will and testament. Will. Expressing the future tense. Go ahead, baby.
Like, will is like this thing where you have a particular desire. It's pinpoint and accurate, and everything that's surrounding it that is you is very conscious of it.
I got you.
So if you're testing your will, that means that every cell in your body is pinpointed towards this particular thing. It's not just running wild and impulsive.
Will are bound to have a habit of do. Will. Keep going, babe. Will wish. It goes back to Latin. Vele. Veye. Most likely.
Yeah. I also think that the term willpower, like putting those two words together, because willpower is a lot different than just...
willpower is big too.
Yeah, it's a lot different than just regular power or the energy to be able to do something. Because willpower is very strong because it's been cultivated, particularly for a task or for a particular moment or exercise.
It says determination, firmness of purpose, fixity of purpose, willpower. Some deliberately exerted to do something. Control deliberately exerted to do something or to restrain one's own impulses. A stupendous effort of will. A deliberate or fixed desire or intention. Mind, like that's just choice. Desire, decree, intention. Testament. Willed. To make or try to make someone do something or something happen by exercise of mental powers. Mental powers.
Yeah, will is real magic. Like, everybody's a bruja or a witch or a warlock or something like that these days. Like, will is actual, like, you talk about black magic, like real magic. The will is unseen, so it's in the dark.
Yeah.
And it's true power. It's the essence of power because you have to take time to cultivate it. You go through many different rituals and meditations and states of mind and exercises and afflictions to be able to ensure that the will and the power of your will actually becomes manifest.
Yeah. It says, have a will of one's own, to have a willful character. Have one's will to obtain what one wants. So, we talk about physical exercise. Like, how important is it for us to exercise our minds?
I think it's very important.
I wonder if it's important to exercise that first. Because would that make every other exercise that much easier?
Yeah, I think oftentimes the way humans are created, and like if they're in their proper element, not one that's like an imposed matrix on them, their mind is the first thing that they're beginning to exercise. Like, even as a baby, we sit with a baby and he knows what it is that he wants. And he knows when he is that he wants it, and he does everything in his power to be able to get it without even being able to walk. Like, he'll scoot across the floor or roll over or cry or scream or do whatever it is that he has to do.
Freedom to do anything.
There you go.
It's one willful woman.
But that shows you the cultivation of willpower early.
Yes.
Early in life. Now, I think that there are systems in place to destroy people's willpower and make them willing, like willing to do whatever it is that they're told. Not necessarily have their own power. There's power in yourself, like yourself, to be able to be like, oh, I'm going to do this, not because someone told me to or because what I'm supposed to do, but it's what I desire in my soul. I think that's the major factor when it comes down to willpower and exercising your willpower, is that if a young boy, his soul is speaking to him and saying, hey, I want to be able to jump these steps 2 at a time. It's not coming from anywhere else. It's just coming from within himself.
You're right. Our higher selves. Thank you for tuning in to the Desi Speaks Life podcast featuring special guest Levi Israel. Bye, y'all. Say bye.
Bye.
The podcast you just heard was made using Anchor. Ever thought about making your own podcast? Anchor makes it really easy for anyone to get started. It's a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing podcasts.